All right, y'all. So I do want to take the time to have a fairly serious discussion. Um, it's just life, it's just life. And this is just basically how to deal with those hard times while you're in medical school and just with anything, any career you may have, you may encounter someone who's sick. And so just a little bit about my history or our history and what I'm about to go into. We were in GI block, and this was literally maybe just a few weeks ago. Maybe it's going to be months before I put this out, but GI block, and my mom called me and she told me she was having some symptoms, and she told me, she doesn't like to bother me. She had FaceTime me a time before. I missed it. I FaceTimed her back. She didn't answer. She was just like, just don't worry about it. You just have a good day. Study hard. And my sister eventually ended up telling me that my mom said she didn't want to bother me because she knows that I'm studying in medicine. But my mom called me. It was the day before I had one of my exams, my clinical medicine exam. And on that exam, we were learning about just different conditions within the gastrointestinal system, including cancers, tumors of the gallbladder and of the pancreas and of the liver, etc. And so my mom called and she said, yeah, like I talked to the doctor. My eyes are yellow and my urine is dark. And I said, huh, Mom, that sounds pretty serious. Um, she said she went dark. I said, that's jaundice. She said, yeah, I know it's jaundice. She's familiar with it. And then I just, she told me she talked to the doctor. He got her in. They did an ultrasound. Um, and she's supposed to go back and have some blood work done because her enzyme levels were elevated. So I'm going through the list of like, okay, so, tell me your symptoms, tell me what happened. She was like, yeah, like I had, and she just had surgery a few months ago. She was like, I had some stomach pain and some back pain, but she just had surgery on her back, so that's kind of expected. And she's like, but I get full really fast, and to me that was a yellow flag. She gets full really fast. Okay, so I'm listening. And she's like, I get full really fast, and of course her eyes are yellow and her urine is dark. And so I asked her, so, well, what color are your stools? And I am going to be a little bit graphic, but this is a medical channel. I was like, have they been lighter than normal? She was like, yeah, they have. Um, and then I know my mom's history as far as her social history. And I asked her, um, well, what, she told me, the liver enzymes, everything was elevated and she was supposed to go back to the doctor. So, we hung up the phone, and my friend, actually, one of my classmates, she was in the room at the time. And so I said, hey, a patient comes in, they present with jaundice, um, early satiety, history of, tobacco use. Um, what else did I say? And I think I probably was like, and new onset diabetes, because while she had just after her surgery, she was diagnosed with diabetes. And I remember, like, as she was telling me all this stuff, I'm just recalling the past few months, what has been happening, things that have just been off, and how she said when they diagnosed her with diabetes, she said, we just went to the doctor and he said my labs were fine. And even when after she was diagnosed, he looked at it, he said, I don't understand what happened. Your labs were just fine. Like, where did this new onset come from? So I went down a list with her and I said, hey, like, what do you think? And so she was like, oh, pancreatic adenocarcinoma. And she was like, yeah, on slide, whatever. And mind you, we have this exam tomorrow. So I looked at it and I saw the new onset diabetes and the history of smoking puts you at a 3-time risk. Um, and the jaundice. And I looked at the age, but I just looked at everything and I just took a deep breath. And I said, my mom just gave me these symptoms. And my friend, she just looked at me, just like eyes wide, was like, Jazz. And I just grasped my face and I just, started bawling, crying. And then I was okay. She was like, it may not be that. It may not be that. So fast forward maybe the next day, because I told my mom what I wanted her to ask the doctor to check for, just in case, because you consider the common things present commonly. You consider those. You consider what can kill the patient. And then last is the zebra things, right? So I told her what I wanted her. I wanted her to ask him about pancreatic adenocarcinoma. And I called him, and they gave me a call back, and I told him, and he said, like he said, I have to forget, like, I forget I'm dealing with a medical student here. He was like, but he said, I don't think it's that. I think she had some gallbladder stuff because we saw some sludge in her gallbladder. I think maybe she just had a gallstone, and we're gonna set her up to get that removed. Which is I said, okay, all right, well, all right, and then she called me maybe 2 days later and told me that she was going to have her gallbladder removed. That was fine. So still within the same week, I'm driving to Virginia now, and he calls me and he says, "Hey, like, what are you doing?" And I told him, like, I'm driving back to Virginia. And he said, "Well," he said, "you talked to your mom?" And I said, "She told me she's going to have surgery." And he was like, "Yeah, well, that's been postponed." And he said, "You were right. We did a CT and we found a large mass in her liver. I mean, in her pancreas, rather. A large mass in her pancreas. And several spots on her liver. And several spots in her lung. And we think that is cancer." And as a medical student, I took in what he said. And I listened. I didn't black out. I listened to what he said. And he said, so I was like, "So what's the next steps?" And he said, "Good morning. Today is Monday, September the 19th. Um, and this is just an update just as far as where we've come in my mom's cancer diagnosis. So she was on the 2nd, she was diagnosed with metastatic pancreatic adenocarcinoma. And that's basically it's the pancreatic adenocarcinoma is the most common cancer of the pancreas, but it's very poor prognosis. Um, Not very responsive to chemo or really anything that's out there right now. There are some different clinical trials, but my mom is basically at stage 4. It's already spread. When they found it out, it's already spread. So on last Tuesday, she had an ERCP done with a stent placement, where they went in and just took a camera basically and went down into her intestines, um, to get a biopsy of her liver, as well as to place a stent in her biliary tree, so that, like, draining portion, to allow enzymes and etc. to pass from the liver into the intestines. So they did that. That was on Tuesday. She was kept overnight because it was a complicated procedure in her case, because the mass in her pancreas was too large, or was very large rather. And then she was discharged on Friday. On Saturday, when I went to go see her, she had an altered mental status. She could not speak well. She couldn't tell me her name, my name, her husband's name. When she was born, she could tell me, eventually she was able to tell me the date, but she just kept, everything else was just off. Her hands, she was just going like this. And she said, "Something's wrong, something's wrong. Something's wrong, something's wrong." So she can understand and comprehend that something's wrong with her. And she would say, "I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to understand." Because she understands that she has cancer, but she was just fine. And now she's not fine, and she understands that, and she's trying to be patient, but I can see where she's getting a little impatient, because she was just fine, and now something's wrong with her mind where she can't understand and she can't verbalize um, certain things. Like, she'll mix things up, like um, hammy, hammy, like she'll say stuff like that, and it's like hammy, go to hammy or something. It just, the words aren't right. And so took her to the emergency room. The ambulance came, took her to the emergency room, and again, altered mental status. She did have she was wrenching and like spitting up very little water, because she really hadn't had anything to eat or drink. So very little water,
very nauseous, spitting up a lot, was just going on. Her ammonia was a little bit elevated. And so we were thinking, I mean, there was a lot to consider. You want to go through all these differentials of what could be happening. She hadn't been on her blood thinners or anything like that with our family history of certain things. And the malignancy, which places her at an increased risk for blood clot formation. So it was a lot to consider. Nonetheless, there basically what's at the top right now is hepatic encephalopathy. We got the results back from the liver biopsy, and it is poorly differentiated. Basically, it's it's basically it spread to the liver. The cancer has spread to the liver. It's very aggressive, and it's in the way, multiple nodules, and it's interfering with how her liver is able to process things, including the ammonia, which is causing the elevated ammonia levels in her blood, which is basically a toxin that's going through the blood-brain barrier, and it's just getting into the brain tissue, and that's what's causing her automental status. So she I don't know, I've seen like some slight personality changes. Like she was super nice and like kind of happy, which was a little odd for me. But yet like I'm crying. She's like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And she was just so happy. And then like today my sister's there and Mina started crying and then my mom started crying. And it's so hard. It's so hard to sit and watch. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's hard to sit and watch. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. And I'm so blessed because the school is just telling me to just be with her. Like my family's like, Jasmine, we need you to go to school. We need you to like get this information. You know, my mom has full support here with them. I have 4 sisters and my mom is married, so she has a support system here, but yet when they say the medical things, I understand the medical things because I'm blessed to be a medical student. And I just feel that I need to be close to my mom if something happens. If something happens. So, it's rough. This is a rough journey. We don't know how long it's going to last. Definitely didn't see this coming 2 weeks ago. Everything was fine, and once it's literally been not even I don't even think it's been a full 2 weeks. And things have just really hit the fan within this short time span. Things have really just hit the fan and made a mess. But it just because you cry, it doesn't mean you're not strong. Yes, you feel like, what can I do? There's nothing you can do. You feel helpless. But just being there, just being present, doing like research, asking questions, showing your family that you care, just being here. I would love to be in medical school, but I most importantly want to be by my mom's side. So that's what we are. That's what we are. I will continue to update you on her progress as we continue along. Hopefully her ammonia levels will start to go down soon. So they have started her on lactulose. There is another medication that they are going to consider because the lactulose does cause the bacteria to produce gas, which will cause abdominal distension. So basically that bloating in your stomach. And with my mom having this type of cancer, everything, she already has this large mass, it's pushing on other structures. And then you want to distend the intestines in addition to that. With the gas production, it's just not really a good combination. That's just going to cause more pain. And this cancer enough is going to cause pain. So we want my mom to be comfortable. Not painless because we need to know when something's wrong, but not in so much pain, more pain than what she needs to be in. So I will continue to update you. Um, Hopefully, we'll see some improvements. I would love to see a full healing, of course. I would love to see a full healing. Um, I would love to see a full healing, but I will continue to update you. And yeah, just know anyone out there going through this, you are not alone. Other people have gone through it. Unfortunately, more people will go through it, but you are not alone. We're all in this together. Together. If you need to speak with someone, um, it's okay to talk to a counselor. It's okay to cry. It's okay to acknowledge how you feel and get it out, and then draw yourself back because you have to keep pressing on. Um, but you are not alone. Take time to talk to yourself, to feed your mental, because you can't be there for them if you're not there for yourself.
I am, as you can see, back in Virginia. My mom was readmitted to the hospital on Monday night, because she was experiencing some really, really, really bad back and stomach pain. She couldn't eat anything. She said her stomach just felt really, really full. Um, and she just kept vomiting, just basically spit liquids because she really hadn't eaten anything. And then she, of course, was having a lot of bowel movements at the same time, which actually turned out to be bloody stools. So they did admit her to the hospital. They did find out that she had internal hemorrhaging, um, or rather, an internal bleed within her abdomen. So now it is who she was admitted on that night, got her pneumonia yesterday, and then today they're going to go in with the scope to actually try to find the bleed. We don't know how long it's been bleeding, how long she's been bleeding, but they're going to go in. So, because she has had the bleed, she has lost quite a bit of blood. Her blood hemoglobin levels were fairly low, and her blood pressure kind of is on the lower side. So they really wanted to get all that up before they went in to perform the procedure. So she did receive a blood transfusion, and today they're supposed to go in now that her hemoglobin is at a okay level above 7. They're comfortable with going in now to try to find out where the bleed is. So I'm hoping they do not prolong that. I'm hoping that they go ahead and do that. And I say that because in order for her to have this procedure and to try to reduce the bleeding, they had to take her off of her blood thinners. Well, 2 weeks ago, they took her off of her blood thinners before they just literally just restarted her blood thinners. And because of our family history, my mom has to be on blood thinners. Well, last time they took her off of her blood thinners, she had a clot maybe like within a week's time, and she ended up having a stroke, which that's a whole nother story. I'm not even going to get into that. But she had a stroke, so now we have to be super vigilant, and I really don't want to prolong this process of her not being on the blood thinners because I do not want mom to have another stroke. And I will hope that they value her life just as much as the next person, no matter where she is within her condition or within her diagnosis, her prognosis. None of that. Just value her like she's here. She's here. We want her here as long as possible. But she was in great spirits when I went to see her yesterday. So yesterday I was super distraught. It's finals week actually in medical school, but I thank God that my school is so understanding because I try to keep my composure, but I went in and I was just I thought I was just bawling. I was bawling because to me it's just so not fair, and maybe I'm going through portions of the grieving process because I was just so angry yesterday, and I'm just asking, you know, God, like I'm just like, how I'm asking my husband, I'm just like, I don't understand, like why would anyone or why would God create cancer and like why this type of cancer? Because it's just so aggressive. It's so aggressive. And I'm like, it's just not even trying to give my mom a fighting chance. And it just hurts. It hurts to see her have to go through this and she just wants to fight and we want to fight with her. And before we can even get ready, it just comes with something else to knock her back down. And it hurts. It genuinely hurts. And so I was just all to pieces on yesterday. Today I'm doing a little quite a bit better. My mom, so phenomenal. Yesterday when I got there,
She is talking. Of course, her words aren't fully they're clear as in you can understand them, but she's still searching for some of her words. But she's doing so much better than what she was doing. Um, you can her a lot more of her words fit together, if that makes sense. She had a lot more complete sentences. Um, yeah, she has improved tremendously, and so I give God all the glory for that. Um, and she does too, and she knows that she's loved and she's surrounded by people who love her. And that's the thing. And so we're not giving up on where she is, and she's not giving up either. But she did yesterday come out and say, all of us had on our mind, really, so we were all in agreement or on one accord. Excuse me. But she wanted to make sure everything was in order in the event that something did happen. And yesterday was a great day for us to talk about it because she understood. She was able to convey what she wanted, what she did not want, how she felt about certain things, and then of course ask opinions and listen to those opinions. And I will ask, Mom, does that make sense? Mom, do you understand? And my sisters, they will ask the same thing, and she would, if she didn't, she would say, I'm trying to understand. Or if she did, she would say, okay. So I am yesterday was a really, really, really good day for her. I obviously am behind because now since it's exam week at school, I have to take those exams next week. And so I'm going to try to get them all in on Monday and Tuesday. Have absolutely no idea how that would be. But I just want to get back here to I want to knock that out the way and then get back here to my mom and to my family to be a help to them and just to love on my mom all that I can while she's here. Again, ups and downs. Maybe, when I have these moments, these grieving moments of, I can't even recall the stages of grief, but when I have those moments, typically the camera isn't on. Maybe one day you'll see them. I mean, they just really come in spurts. They come in spurts. And yesterday was just literally up and down, up and down, up and down. And even the day before, it actually started the night before, just up and down, up and down. But we're still here, and everything has a purpose. Everything has a place. There is a lesson in this. And I know it is hard for whoever may be going through it, or if you know someone who goes through it, or if you end up going through it in the future, it's going to be rough. No joke. No joke. No, I would not wish this on anyone. This is how, like, I've been through pain, but I mean, this is just a different level. And I'm not even the one who's fighting it. I'm fighting with my mom, but like she's the primary. We're just a secondary. And it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But no, it's going to get better. Yes, there will be hard days. I would like remiss if I didn't tell you that there will be hard days where you just laying there, just holding yourself. You can't move. You're like fighting to breathe. Um, and your mind is just out there. But please hold on. You will get through it. It's going to be hard, but you have to fight and you have to push through it. If you have family, you can call on them, listen to each other, talk to each other, and then be present. Do your best to be present for the primary that's going through this. So in this case, that would be my mom. Be present for them. Just because you cry doesn't mean you're not strong, and I'm learning that. I'm not struggling to learn it, but I'm adapting to learning that it's okay to cry. That doesn't mean I'm weak. I'm still strong. But I want to be there for my mom. If she cries, I'm there to wipe her tears. My sisters, I'm sure they feel the same. They want to be there to wipe her tears. They want to be there to lift her up. They want to be there to encourage her, to keep her mind focused on the right things. Don't think about negative things. Don't think about anyone who you feel doesn't love you or who has a grudge against you. No, because you're right here. You're surrounded by people who love you, people who care about you. You are loved. As long as you forgive, that's all you can do. You can't control anything anyone else does. Right? You can only control yourself. So just remind them of that and just help them to just focus on the positive, good things in life. and you do the same. And it's okay to prepare. It doesn't mean you're giving up. And by preparing, I'm saying, making sure all of the affairs are in order. Um, Making sure they have an advance directive, making sure in the event that they are unable to speak for themselves, like in the case with my mom, where she ended up developing hepatic encephalopathy and then had a stroke like the next day. You have to have all this stuff in order just in case they cannot speak for themselves. So it's okay to prepare for that stuff. It doesn't mean you're giving up, but at the same time, surround them and surround yourself with love and positive energy and just positive thoughts, and you're gonna fight, and you just keep the fight. You just keep going, and it's gonna be okay. I promise. We're all gonna get through this together because it's hard.
I do want to add in, I just went back and I looked at some of the videos I've made since earlier in my mom's diagnosis until now. And we have made some um, good improvement emotionally. Whereas before I would keep everything in. And now I'm more open with my feelings and shedding tears. And if I'm not, if I feel weak, instead of just trying to put on a brave face. So being able to do that does help with coping with things. You don't have to just put on a brave face. You don't have to be the one who, the one who you feel is the strong one. You all are strong. And so just know that um it's okay. Like, just allow yourself to feel what you are feeling and be honest with yourself. Don't swallow it down. Let it come out, and I promise it will get easier with time. Hey everyone. So as you can see, I am still in Virginia. Um and it is the 3rd of October, so October 3rd. My mom is still in the hospital. She went in because she was having some hemorrhaging. I don't even remember the last time I picked up the camera. So she was having some really really bad abdominal and back pain. I'm just gonna have a seat. So some really bad abdominal and back pain, and they found out when they did some imaging that she was, or rather did some blood work, she was hemorrhaging, and so they had to go in and figure out what was the source of it. And they basically found that the cancer had spread to her intestines. And again, she has pancreatic adenocarcinoma, a really tight space bordered by like the intestines and the liver, um, spleen, lungs, stomach, things like that. So it has spread to her intestines and was basically, for lack of better terms, like eroding through the intestines, and it caused an ulcer. And so that was just causing like a bleed in her intestines. So they did a nerve block to help with the pain, but that's only going to help with pain from the pancreas. And a lot of the pain she's experiencing now is just related to the intestines. So like they cauterized that to stop the bleeding, but it's going to end up happening again. And it's just like, so as someone who's living, like who's a relative of someone going through this, it's just more so it's really really hard to focus. And I know I have to focus. I know I still have to do my schoolwork. I still take my exams because I didn't take them last week. Um, and my school has been so patient with me, and I'm so grateful for that. It's just really hard to focus and to just reminding myself um, that I have to keep going, like allowing myself to feel what I feel. Because yesterday was a really hard day, and today's kind of a hard day. I think I'm just going to go. I want to go see her just to put eyes on her, which is why I'm still here and out of South Carolina, just to be with her for a little bit. And it's just like when I'm here, like I'm at home and I'm trying to do my schoolwork, and I'm trying to focus and I'm trying to get into the zone. And it kind of goes back into, okay, like my somewhat normal routine. Um, I'm reminded, like I'll call and check up on my mom, or like she'll be on my mind, and I'm reminded that no, we're not in the norm anymore. Like this is very much our new reality. Um, her her condition,
her not being able to eat because she feels full, because of course the mass is growing, and her in pain because it's spreading. And um it's just like trying to hold on to it, like the pastor said yesterday, like, God, the C in Christ is bigger than the C in cancer, because remember they took chemotherapy off the table, so she can no longer receive chemo, which we hadn't even gotten started. They didn't tell us why. They just said it wouldn't be feasible. I don't know if they feel like it's spread too far and there's just nothing that chemo would do at this moment. And so we're just watching her just kind of um, progress in discomfort or in pain. And the palliative care team has been so great, and wanted to make sure that my mom is okay. And they've increased the frequency of her pain medication. But like, there's just like, this is the new reality that I had to learn to not be okay with, but to adjust to. Um, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's hard. It's just hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. And to think where this is headed. There is no going back. There's no going back. There's no more pre-September how it used to be. I don't. I'm not going to say where we're headed. Like, if you could read between the lines of that, it's just hard. It's hard. It's hard. But for those of you who know the words of prayer, I do just ask that God, that you just pray that God will speak to her, speak to us, make it plain that we know His voice when we hear it, that we know it's Him. And that we are obedient to His word, and just that He gives us strength, like, hold us, let us know He's there, and just give us strength through it all. Whatever He decides to do, just give us His peace and His strength. I think that's what we need. Of course my mom's healing, but so I am back in Spartanburg. I just took 2 exams this morning. I came back, it's actually our week off, and I came back to finish my exams from last week. Took 2 exams this morning and I passed. Have another exam this afternoon and then 4 on tomorrow. But I just got off the phone with the oncologist, and my mom is being released from the hospital on today. Just asked some questions about what I should expect, or rather what we as a family should expect moving forward, so we're not surprised or walking in this blind when we take her home. So I asked about her eating because she cannot eat more than like 2 bites of mashed potatoes. And so I asked him like about a tube, and he said because she's going on hospice, that they don't normally force feed. The body will let her know when she's hungry. Which she says she's hungry, but she can't eat because she's too full. So, like, the nutritional deficit isn't really addressed in hospice. And as far as the internal hemorrhaging, because of the spread of the cancer to her intestines, they and in regards to the internal hemorrhaging, they don't address that because it's just a natural process of this cancer spreading and the dying process. So there's nothing that they're going to do about that in hospice. And just what to expect. So the pain medication should keep her pain well controlled. But he says that she will not be in torment or like, and afraid isn't the right word, but for lack of better terms, like she won't be in torment or afraid, because she has hepatic encephalopathy, so she will sleep quite a bit. It'll kind of be out of it, and eventually she will just kind of fade out. He said we have about a few weeks left, and they may be 2, maybe a little bit more, which is so wild, because I told my husband literally the other day, I feel like this is like around the 18th, 19th or so, like something is going to happen. But this is where we are. So I have to try to regroup and get back to studying. My sister said my mom is having a good day today. She kind of has these back and forth, good day, bad day, good day, bad day. And today's a good day, and she's happy, and she says she's happy that people are just loving on her, and that she's grateful for everyone taking care of her. And it's just, what do you do? Never imagine being in a situation. It's like, and I can't even ask, do I tell her what she's going through? Because I've asked her questions in regards to, does she know what's going on? Does she understand what the doctor said? And if she says no, I try to explain it. But if she's not grasping it, then I save it for another day. A lot of times she's fixated on a different topic, especially if she's upset about something, because her filter has been completely gone as of late. Which it gives us some good laughs. But nonetheless, after I take my exams tomorrow, I will be going home to be with my husband, my daughter, my family, spend some time with my mom for the weekend before I return on Monday, and it'll just be a every weekend ordeal. So that's the update. And I will continue to keep you all posted on her progress, what to expect in this type of situation. Again, everyone's case is different. Everyone's body is different. This, for some reason, hers is so aggressive. It's so aggressive. Like one of the most aggressive forms that they've seen. So I'm just happy that she's having it. I'm happy when I think about it. Try to find a silver lining. I'm happy that she's having a good day. Hey everyone, so I am back in Virginia with my mom, which of course is why I have a smile on my face. Alright, have fun. Because any day with my mom is a good day. So we finished up exams right now. My mom is sleeping. She's doing, she's on her pain medication, and they're doing exactly what they should be doing, keeping her out of pain. But when she's on them, she's pretty out of it, just sleeps a lot. So that's what she's doing. Also, we have been reading, when you're on hospice, they do give you some things that you can read just so that you can follow along or know what to expect. That is a good thing about this. Just with them trying to make you aware so you're not walking blind as to what's coming next. You have the signs. And so I did read one of those books. One of them was called The 11th Hour, and another one's called like the dying experience or the death experience or something. Very helpful. My mom is already beginning to display some of those things. As far as like it's just like she's kind of staring and seems she's like out of it, or her eyes are open, but it's like she's between sleep and awake. Eyes are glassy. She'll say something that doesn't make sense, and she doesn't really respond to you. But if you like shake her, wake her, she'll open her eyes.
or like her eyes will get wider and she may respond, but it doesn't last long. It's like very, very short. And it's not, it's more like a look type of response. She may say yes, and like that's it. But it was so beautiful because she was doing that earlier, and my sister was like, I love you. And she was alert enough to say, I love you too. Or even when I was rolling her over to, I think I was adjusting her pillows, and she just started kissing on my neck. It was just, just those things are beautiful. So this is where we are. According to the book, we're like, I think it was like weeks to days leading up to the inevitable. And of course, every day is a roller coaster. Yesterday was super hard, and this morning was hard, but it just feels good to just be in her presence. I also do want to say that one thing that we have done, or we've become more aware of, is just being more cognizant of how we as a family speak to one another, because this is a hard time for all of us, and so undoubtedly it'll be a hard time for anyone going through this. Hence why you're watching this video. Um, so just being mindful to not take your emotions out on each other, but to just be present for one another, and then allowing one another to have moments to decompress. So like right now, I'm not in town often, so I'm sitting with my mom. She's sleeping, of course. So I'm with her when my sister goes out for a little bit, just so that she can decompress in a way that suits her. So for me, I'm fine. Like I can study here and I could be with my mom, so it's a win-win. And then I go home and I'll go to sleep with my family, my husband. Um, but yeah, so just make sure that you allow each other to have those moments to decompress, because you still have to protect your mental state, your mental status, through this hard time. And then just taking the time to enjoy those moments that you have with your loved one as they're going through this time. Um, and those books are very, very helpful as far as kind of guiding you through what to look for. And it lets you know, like, all the sounds may be present, one or two sounds may be present, or no sounds may be present, as far as according to the book. But it's still a good guide on what to expect, because up until this point we've basically been walking blind as far as the different things that we've encountered. Um, but yeah, this is where we are. My mom, it was a good day today. Any day with her for me is a good day. Um, but it just feels good to be with her, to know that she was asking for me as I was driving here, because I drove back from school today. So that feels good. And when she saw me, she just smiled, and I give her a kiss, and I was like, hey lady. So we cleaned her up, and gave her a nice bath, put on some clean pajamas, and she's smelling good and has on her nice head covering. And it's just those little things to show that you still care, like they're still a person, they matter, and them being clean, and all that stuff, it still matters. They're still human. So make sure you are still caring for them as a person, and not as a condition, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Um, and then you just have to, do your best to stay encouraged yourself. So we are actually here at my sister's house. This is where hospice was set up. This is where my mom wanted to come. The hospital did get in touch with the resources and the companies to provide the necessary equipment for my mom. So she received a bed, a bedside table, a bedside commode, um, and they even came and installed a catheter to help her, so she really doesn't have to get out the bed, which I'm not a fan of, but that's neither here nor there. Because I want my mom to get up and walk around. I want her to have to move, but it's not my call. Um, yeah, so that's that. This is where we are on today. I do also want to say, throughout this process, make sure that you are getting the will taken care of, and the power of attorney taken care of, the medical power of attorney, as well as an advance directive if that is not done, make sure you have a notary sign it. Those things are important, and they can help alleviate a lot of drama, hopefully during um, postmortem. So get all those things taken care of. Just things that you can try to think of now before you're kind of emotionally distraught. So that's just a little plug for that. But yep, again, this is where we are. It's a good day. She's sleeping with her blanket um, that she got for her birthday. And yeah, so good days. We will have rough days ahead, but today is a good day. Ooh, my hand. But today is a good day. Ready? Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear grandma. Mom. Happy birthday to you. May God bless you. May
We'll drag it out.
May God bless you. May God bless you. Make a wish. Hold on, why you didn't open this at the bottom? I don't know. I just didn't.
It's beautiful.
Take a snapshot. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart.